Hey everybody, welcome back. Shalote Conversations on a Bench. I'm here with my dear friend Joe Reilly. Joe has a very special perspective. He's with the VFW, so I was really anxious to make sure that he got a chance to come out and sit with us because a lot of his work, and especially the way that you've supported even Christian recovery centers in the past, has been focused around vets. So,
Yes.
first of all, that's what brings you to the bench to wrestle with these issues. But tell me about what makes you passionate about vets.
Well, I've spent 30 years in the Army active duty.
Thank you.
So I have been around veterans, what seems to be my entire life. My father was a veteran. My uncles are veterans. I don't think I have a lot of friends that probably weren't veterans, So they're near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and as you have retired, thank you so much for your service. And as you retired though, and kind of nestled into this community, you couldn't stay away from the work.
No, you can't. I mean, it's in your blood.
Yeah,
Just like working with the recovery for you, it's in your blood. Working with veterans is in my blood. Brunswick County is so full of people from all over, and so many veterans, whether serving in California, Camp Lejeune, Fort Bragg. We just have a lot of veterans in this community, and a lot of us want to continue to serve.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the military does that. So it gives you a servant's heart, a bigger picture that you're working collectively to fulfill, right?
You've been on a team for so long.
On team for so long.
You just can't walk away.
Can't yet.
And especially when I found out about you guys down here in Charlotte Christian Recovery Center,
We emotionally headlocked you to do a lot more with us. Yeah.
I tell you what, it warmed my heart. Again, it's just another team that I work with. I feel like,
Nice.
the guys, that I've got to know at Christian Recovery, I feel really close to now.
Famous when you walk in.
Come on now.
I'll be in my I'll be in meetings in my office, and I always know when you're there. Hey, Joe, Joe.
It's just great. You have such a great team.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so attractive to outsiders like me.
Yeah.
They know that, it's serious business, but you can be serious and still have a great time with people that you establish a relationship with.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So we wrestle with homelessness, addiction, recovery, and those intersect many times
Yes.
with our brothers and sisters
Yes.
who've been in service and have found themselves headed back home, and home doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yes.
All right. So can you talk to me a little bit about that?
When we transitioned from the Army, they put us through what's called the Transition Assistance Program, TAP. And it tries to make that inform the soldier or the veteran get ready for civilian life. And a lot of people, it's just hard. It's just hard to make that transition. We live in a bubble for so many years when we're in the military, and we come out here into the real world, and it gets real fast. Everything's going on. People have things to do, and they're not on a team anymore. They find themselves by themselves doing things that they never had to do. And it can be extremely difficult for a lot of veterans. I think that's why it's so important that vets try to stay connected to their brothers and sisters they served with, connected with other veterans wherever they may move. I moved from Fayetteville to Oak Island, and the first thing I was looking to do was, all right, where, besides finding my church, getting my house established, all right, where are the veterans at? What's going on? Where can we have an impact, as a retired guy? And so it can be a difficult transition, though, for a lot of vets.
And so I never heard the phrase tap before. So maybe you tell us a little bit about those things and maybe where we feel like it's not sticking the landing for so many people, because that's kind of what you're saying. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not closing the loop for you.
yeah. The Transition Assistance Program is designed to brief and bring soldiers up to speed on how it is to live in the civilian society. A lot of soldiers have lived on a military installation their entire career. And I'm talking at Fort Bragg. I know guys that have lived on Fort Bragg for 15, 20 years.
And what makes it a lot different than what you would expect?
Well, when you come out here, there's an expectation that you already understand that you're going to have to pay an electric bill. There's a lot of bills on post you don't pay.
Okay.
When you live in housing,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah, you live in housing, you give up what's called your basic allowance for housing. You can either live off post or on post. A lot of guys want to live on post because it's close to work. but they don't pay electric bills. They don't pay rent. They live in a housing that's provided for them. So now all of a sudden they move off post, and there's all these stressors of, one, where do we live? Two, how do I get my children enrolled in school? Three, does my wife want to work? And there's
kind of life.
it's life. It's life that a lot of civilians take for granted, but on post, it's just a lot different. You're in a bubble. Yeah, and even though you're right outside the gate, the civilian world, you're in a bubble. And think about guys that go overseas for 3-6 years.
Yes.
They are completely isolated.
You really are in a different.
They are completely isolated. And so it takes a little bit to adjust. It really does.
So, and it's on what you're describing in the military service. I hear so many bells go off in my head because it's we struggle with that for the folks in the program. That when they're in the program, we've kind of consumed a lot of the responsibilities for them.
Yeah.
And they just got to kind of be a good soldier.
Yeah.
And go through the things that they're wrestling with and working to prepare them.
Yes. And I used to, being a leader, a senior leader in the military, but I was also in recovery. I used to really find myself attracted to soldiers that I knew were struggling in recovery, sit down and really share with them that, hey, it is so critical for you to have that foundation, that network of people that you can trust. I am a firm believer that the homelessness that we experience as veterans a lot of times is attributed to substance abuse and failure to adapt to the civilian community. It just did. I mean, there's no homelessness problem when they're in the military,
right?
Because we'll give them a cot, 3 meals, medical. They don't have to worry about anything. It's everything's there.
It's there for them.
And then one day you walk out and it's not.
And so one of the things that we know, leads people into addiction most frequently, especially when maybe they're discharged in service. You and I had chatted about this at the golf tournament. By the way, VFW sponsored this year's charity golf tournament. So we did a huge emphasis around veterans.
It was so wonderful.
Recovery.
Yes. Thank you so much for that opportunity for the veterans
you wrote
in Brunswick County.
Recovery program a check, and we got to raise awareness together.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did it. So the VFW sponsored the Christian Recovery Center's golf tournament. So yeah, thank you in your posts here for that, the Oak Island Post. And so, but one of the things we chatted about while we were out there on the golf course is relationship.
Yes.
That they had a brotherhood, they had a sisterhood, and our world isn't really catered to that concept, and they find themselves really in want for that relationship again.
Yeah.
So
when I first got out, I have a break in service. So when I first got out, I always felt like a lot of the guys I went to work with as a new civilian didn't appreciate the fact that I had served in the military because we have a different work ethic. A soldier will sit on a bench for 24 hours and not ask questions and do it. Whereas civilians, a lot of times, they're going to sit there and say, why am I going to do that? Are you paying me for that? Who's going to provide my food? Who's going to do this? And so the transition is a lot more difficult than people make it out to be.
Yeah.
And
so when things are unfamiliar and they're awkward and they don't seem right, they don't seem normal, they have a tendency to be less satisfying is where we went.
Yes.
So a lot of our vets, it's not that they haven't had the talent, resource, or work ethic to have a home, to have a good career. It's that life has dulled them in some sense.
Yes.
It's not the same.
Yes.
Yes. So they retract.
And another thing that vets a lot of times don't want to do, I don't know why, but they don't want to use the resources that are available to veterans through the VA, through different programs, because they want to separate themselves. They're like, I'm no longer in the military. And they want to, for the first time in 3, 6, 12 years, I'm not a military member. Yeah. And please don't let.
What do you think that is?
I have no idea. Sometimes it can just be, maybe they had a bad experience, especially younger soldiers that only did 3 years. They may have had a really difficult time adapting to military life, which happens. Hey, it happens all the time. Military life is not for everyone. So they do their 3 years and they get really angry and they just want to get out and they don't want anything to do with the VA programs, even though they're there to help them make this smooth transition. These are programs that they've earned
Right.
as soldiers.
Yes. Yeah. For their service.
For their service.
Yes.
You know, they've earned these, whether it be a medical background, if they need assistance with that, or counseling, whatever it may be, they've earned it, but they don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've tried, these things that you're describing, there has been programs that have tried to respond,
Yes.
to maybe resolve or close the gap a little bit, at least at a minimum on these issues. But it's been the people who are coming out of service who oftentimes reject that as
It is.
an answer.
Yeah. And I think it takes time. I've talked to some vets at the VFW and just in Brunswick County and back at Bragg. I think they go through a period where they're just kind of pushing away, but slowly but surely, a lot of them will embrace it. Slowly but surely. It really just depends on the experience that they've had while they were in the military.
So I gotta tell you, our guy who's running the whole show with Dwayne today, Seeley over there, he's on the other side
Chris.
of the camera. Yeah, you can't see him, but he's hey, he's over there. Okay, he's an Army veteran.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So what I got a chance to do is I picked his brain, a little bit about his experiences there and how fulfilling the job that he had was there and how he did feel like he was a part of something collectively good. One of the really cool things that he shared with me when we were chatting about that is he's found that in his service to the recovery community.
That's right.
Since he's been here, he's the ship that we run doesn't function without him. You know that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There's every day where people are inside of his office asking him to solve their problems.
When I get a message from these guys, whether it be Dwayne or Chris, I'm always like, yes, I'm on it, Dwayne. I'm responding. But I was going to say, when the vets, when they find themselves, they distance themselves from the military or programs, eventually when they come back, they make better veterans to sit down and discuss problems with.
Yeah.
They can relate with people and say, I know where you're coming from. I didn't want anything to do with the VA. I didn't want anything to do with housing assistance. But all of a sudden, that team comes back into their life.
Yeah, remember
because they
instinctually it might be in.
Look, I mean, we all want to help our own. I spoke to the one gentleman a little while. He worked at a company for 35 years. I mean, he has his people. They were 35 years. You're in a corporation. That's his people. He's always going to be there for one of those people.
Yeah.
The
VFW has a collective group, and you can join the VFW go ahead.
You can join the VFW if you're a veteran of a foreign war, a foreign conflict. There's a list of different conflicts that you have to meet certain criteria, which if you've served in the last 25 years, that's probably pretty easy to do because you're either in Iraq, Afghanistan, or something like that. So
and the collective impact that the VFW, not just your posting, but from other posts across the collective impact factor is service to veteran.
Absolutely.
Yeah, is trying to help close the gap between the resources that exist and their access.
We want to always make sure at the VFW that when new people come into town that they know there's a place they can come.
Yeah.
And even if you're just a veteran, you're not a veteran of foreign wars, you're more than welcome to come to the VFW, become part of the auxiliary, which is just another organization within the VFW that maybe your father served years ago in Vietnam or in Korea. If that's the case, you can become an auxiliary member.
Okay.
And it gives people a sense of giving back. We have different fundraisers that we do at the VFW, and it's always about raising money in order to help other veterans. I mean, and
spreading the word,
getting out there and letting people know, hey, we're here if you need help.
Yeah. The people will encounter people who need help,
Yeah.
So that, and most people retract back, I would say. Is that a fair comment?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So most people would see someone noticeably dealing with the life issues that we
Yes.
talked about today, possibly a veteran dealing with those life issues, but they'll have a natural tendency to say kind of like, not my monkey, steer clear of it. What do you find as far as your personal responsibility? Like if we were going to say the Good Samaritan idea, what's that moral conflict that you wrestle with?
I wrestle sometimes with, I have to be serving in the military for so long. being away from my family so long and being in harm's way for so long, I have to make sure I'm safe. I've heard people talking about, well, we can go back and look in woods X and look for veterans back there, go walking around in the woods in homeless encampments. I'm not really sure that's what the Lord's put me on this earth for, because I'm not really sure if that's fair to my family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to be careful. Yeah. But seeing a veteran that's sitting in front of a fast food place or a grocery store, that's a whole nother animal where I might be able to assist him and just talk to her sometimes. Sometimes just being kind.
Yeah. It's amazing because what you're saying, I've asked this to a few other people today, and they've all started with the point of try to have a relationship with, try to get to know them, try to,
Yeah.
it leads me to believe that there's a large impression, that even one person, Revelin Barr, was talking to me earlier. He said that it's those, don't call them those people, and I knew what he was saying, even
Yeah.
if you did, it was like, what he's saying, because you do kind of feel like separated from them.
Yeah.
You do kind of feel like, well,
Yeah. And we can't blame ourselves. Sometimes that's just a fast response for us. We all at some point in our lives needed a friend. So
and that's what you can do.
yeah, that's what just being there for these guys.
Yeah,
Because some of the guys have gone through some tough stuff.
I know.
And
people don't know, do they?
no, I don't think anybody really wants to just live in the woods. You know what I'm saying? There's something behind it.
Something's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of resources that we have to help them with.
Yeah.
And look, it's time. Sometimes it might take a long time.
It is time consuming. It is.
Yeah.
I
Recovery takes time.
Yes. Yeah. I wrestle with that myself sometimes, and I'll just be, honest with you about this part, because I thought about it a lot. Preparing for these conversations, I thought about this a lot. I pass people that I probably could help, but I'm busy. And that's like the real and I wouldn't say that it's like a guilt complex for me, but it is something that I found myself thinking about, because I'm creating a system that serves many hundreds of people at a time.
Yeah.
But then there is still that guy across the street who's just as important to the overall picture.
Yeah.
So where do we go from there?
That is such a great question. And I firmly believe, every day, if I just, God, your will be done.
Okay.
My path is guided sometimes by selfishness, by commitments, by family. There's so many different things, I don't know. I can't lose focus on what I'm doing today. If I do one thing, one or two things, then it was a pretty good day. If I can end the day and say, was God's will's done? Well, if God's will was done, I feel I can honestly answer that. Hey man, I'm going to sleep pretty good.
You did what you're supposed to do.
That's because it's a big world and it's a big county. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people. We all need to chip in.
Yep. And there's issues that are happening today that we don't even know about.
Every day. Every day. We might wake up tomorrow morning and somebody come across our lives and it could change everything for us.
Change everything for us.
Yeah.
And it's funny you're saying that the world is big. It is big, and it's big for the people who are in the middle of these issues.
Yes.
It's even bigger in a lot of ways, because we found order again.
Yep.
And there, the situation for me, I know when I was in homelessness and I was dealing with addiction and all of those things, I had anything but order.
I know.
It was chaos.
I was just about to say, chaos was your Norman.
Yeah.
Every day I understood chaos. I could deal with chaos. It was the quiet. It was the peaceful that I couldn't always understand and deal with.
Yeah, and that might be the gap in the transition back home for some of our brothers and sisters of service.
Yeah.
That might be the gap. It's too quiet around these parts.
I
to understand.
That's right. And I've been looking at some numbers, and you know what? The people in recovery, the people in different agency, there's a lot of good work being done. There's a lot of the numbers are coming down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, are they down where we want them to zero? No, they're not.
Will they ever?
I don't know. I don't know. we got to always remember people have free choice of life.
Yeah, it's they
You
just say, I
that-
don't
that-
want to
that's-
trade this for this.
That's right.
Isn't
So,
that the ultimate?
but the numbers are going down. I was doing some research, reading some stuff, and I was really impressed with how numbers were going down. So it is a blessing. And as the wars stop and things start to calm down a little bit, hopefully as people transition out of the service, they can find peace. They can get go back home where they came from, or stay here in North Carolina, or wherever they're at.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, and just start a new life.
Yeah,
But
anywhere, anything. Yeah,
I firmly believe, man, establishing the foundation, whether it's in recovery, whether it's transitioning, that's where it all starts. You got to have a plan, and you got to understand where your foundation is, and you got a chance. We're not guaranteed anything.
Yeah. Tell them where they can find you for the VFW if they're interested in participating.
We're at the VFW on Oak Island is right next to Publix. I think it's 55th Avenue. We're open probably 4 days a week. We have bingo. We have Saturday morning pancake breakfast. All you can eat. Come by and see us at the VFW. I got to make a push.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that type of activity, if you're a veteran of a foreign war, which is pretty much it.
We have veterans from Vietnam all the way up to present conflicts. So there's a lot of guys, a lot of ages, a lot of women. We have an incredible VFW, and we'd love to see people come by.
Joe, God bless you. Yeah,
Josh,
thank you for loving the recovery center. Your work.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Anytime you guys need me, Dwayne, he's got me on speed dial.
I know he does. Dwayne got a lot of people.
I know he does.
There's a lot of people. Dwayne's be burning me up. Yeah, I'm glad I'm sitting on this bench for a day. I just get a break.
Sit back, let Dwayne do all the work.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Man.
I love you
Thank
too,
you for
brother.
the chat.
Thank you.